stuck between a libertarian and a Republican? Welcome to Publitarian Podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. This is Ronald Johnson, Publitarian, coming at you again with another episode of Publitarian Podcast, and we are up to episode number 74. And this is probably just going to be some news of the day and some rambling, so I don't have a title for it yet. So, here we go. That's right, I'm recording this on the weekend again. This is the third time in a row I've done a podcast on the weekend. I promise I'm not just trying to use the Working for the Weekend bumper music. It just happens to coincide that I'm not having time to record this podcast except on the weekend. So here we are. I am working for the weekend. I am ensconced in Publitarian Studios West. I think everybody is ensconced in their lockdown. My 30-day trial of socialism. I would like for it to expire. I do not want to renew. And let's get back to enjoying this great country. So, let's get right to it. A funny tweet I saw from the Daily Wire said, Bernie bros are going to be so bummed about the Bernie news when their parents wake them up at 11 a.m.
Boom. Roasted.
And the lighter side of COVID-19 humor, Nicole Arbor, YouTube and internet Instagram sensation / comedian, tweeted, "We just need all the girls of the world to ask Corona where this is going, ... and it'll disappear."
Oh, snap, you're like, oh.
And more tweeting, since I very, very rarely go on Twitter, but I do it so you don't have to. So a tweet by Rogan O'Handley, also known as DC Drano, on the Instahams. If Bernie doesn't donate all his unused campaign donations towards paying off people's student loans, medical bills, or housing costs, then he's a fraud.
Oh, yeah!
For those of you keeping score at home, yes, that is the third time I've used the Macho Man sound drop. It just happened to be up there, so I thought I would sneak it in again for a third time. And now, okay, I'm retiring it. I'm not doing show number 4 with that. And let's see what else in the Twitter sphere. Oh, brilliant one by James Woods. He gets shadow banned and full outright banned a lot on social media. Here's why. Because he says some brilliant things. Here's one by him. Small businesses are the lifeblood of America. Why then do Democrats hate them so? Because small businesses are the soul of capitalism and the shining beacons of hard work, achievement, and true community. Everything socialist Democrats loathe and cannot control. No sound drop for that. That was just brilliant. In other news, for those of you paying attention, this will come as no surprise. But if you haven't been paying attention to the Spygate, Trumpgate, Comey-gate debacle that's been going on for years, this is from Representative Jim Jordan. New transcripts show that James Comey's FBI sought dirt on the Trump campaign less than 2 weeks before the 2016 election. The information received cleared POTUS of wrongdoing, but the FBI failed to update their bogus FISA application. Wow. Like I said, for any of us paying attention, we already knew that to be the case. We already knew there was exculpatory evidence that wasn't being put forward. There were some text exchanges and some 302 FISA warrant applications. The FISA warrant applications, the 302s, that you're supposed to follow the Woods procedure to get clearance, basically, to spy on an American. They have to be some kind of like terrorist threat. Other than that, you need a warrant. Having said that, I don't think we should be spying on our citizens no matter what, but that's just me. But the way the law is now, you can go to the FISA court without a warrant, but you have to have like good stacks of paper showing that this person is a threat to the country. And big surprise, the FBI agents that marched all of this information, quote unquote, in front of the court so that Trump associates and by proxy Trump himself could be spied on, they did not have these vetted procedures in place. So like I said, all of us paying attention already knew that. but there's confirmation of that now. There are text exchanges between the FBI agents that show this now, and there are some declassified documents that show this now. Now, the big question that everybody is asking is anybody going to go to jail because of this? Is anybody going to be perp walked? Is anybody going to be put in bracelets and marched behind closed doors? That I can't tell you. I wish I could tell you that, the storm was coming and all that was happening, but swerving back into the Q stuff, there was no 3 days of darkness last weekend. We all had power. We all had internet. So take that for what you will, Q-tards. So I don't know if anything's going to happen to these people or not. William Barr, Attorney General Barr, was interviewed the other day, and he said if Durham, the one that's looking into all this stuff, basically if he has all of his I's dotted and T's crossed, there will be people prosecuted for this. But again, will it be like a token prosecution, or are we going to get that head on the pole, metaphorically, that we want? I don't know. I wish I could tell you that that would happen, but I don't know if it's going to happen or not. So anyway, enough of that. I'm trying to stay off of the coronavirus news. The president gave a briefing last night and had Dr. Birx up there and also the Surgeon General. And the Surgeon General, I thought was funny, pulled an inhaler out of his pocket while he was talking, and he was like, hey, I've been using this for 40 years. You too can have asthma and grow up to be Surgeon General. I thought that was a lighthearted, nice note. Also, he's got a little bit of a Mike Tyson lisp. I noticed that too, which was endearing for me because I grew up in the time when Tyson was king and knocking everybody out. So it actually made me like him more. And as if you needed me to highlight the bias in the mainstream legacy media, which you don't, but I thought I would give you an example anyway. Last week, New York Times, headline, Trump promotes oil deal that may not exist. The president's optimism for a deal between Saudi Arabia and Russia to reduce production and a Saudi call for talks send crude prices skyrocketing, but Moscow showed little enthusiasm. And then this week, New York Times, OPEC and Russia agree to cut oil production. It's just like this permanent facepalm by the mainstream media that they still don't get this guy. This guy being Trump, the president. They still don't get what he says, how he thinks, and how he does things because they're used to following this template of cracking the whip at whoever the Republican is and having them cower in fear and run in the other direction because they don't want bad headlines printed about them. And Trump does what Ben Shapiro calls running towards the fire. Oh, there's a fire? You're making some noise? Let me go right there and put my face right in it and put the fire out. And Stephanie Grisham, his old press secretary, I think she's the only White House press secretary that never gave a press conference. The president just added a new press secretary now, and her name escapes me. But anyway, so Trump decided to do away with these briefings, and he's like, I'll just do it myself. What president does that? They take so much time out of their day to talk to this media apparatus that hates them, that absolutely despises him, and he still does it. That's pretty badass. But yeah, that's going on. And like I said, more bias in the news. Nobody's shocked. Nobody's surprised about that. The president is optimistic that we will have this country open again for business by May 1st. This is going to be weird having an Easter and not going to church. I am a musician by trade, and I can't think of an Easter where I didn't play some sort of musical instrument in church. So that's going to be weird. But yeah, so that's happening. Most churches do an online thing, so I would encourage you this Easter Sunday to remember what the season is all about and find a church service that you can stream online. There's a billion of them. Or, just have some quiet time between yourself and God and get yourself right. Lord knows I need to, daily. Have you seen some of the stuff I post on Instagram? And I think I'll wrap this. Not much else to talk about. Just the same old Corona stuff going on. So, from all of us at Publitarian Podcast, I want to wish you a happy Easter. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys next week.
listening to Publitarian Podcast. Copyright 2020.